Watch out. Come on, you gotta share the couch. What are you doing? And this is our podcast. Welcome, everyone. We are the Dwarfs. My name is Justin. This is Tracy. Before we dive into our podcast, so if you've ever seen our podcast before, it's usually from some random couch because we are staying in different Airbnbs for 1 month at a time. So the current Airbnb that we're in doesn't even have anywhere to set up for a podcast, but it works out well. We like our little couch podcast, and that way Cricket gets to be center stage and the star per usual. But before we dive in here, want to ask you guys, if you've seen any of our videos before, or if you're seeing this one right now, which obviously you are because you're listening to me talk right now, please do us a favor and subscribe to this channel because we need to get a certain number of subscribers so we can go live for the next Airbnb that we're at. We want to do a live tour of that for you guys. All right, so this is our third podcast. The second one was after our first month on the road in New Hampshire, and this is after our second month on the road. We've been in Maine for the past month, and so I'm going to be asking Tracy some questions and I'll chime in, but for the most part you and Cricket will be doing most of the talking. So Tracy, after staying in completely rural Maine for the last month, what was your biggest win from this past month?
There's lots of cool hiking again. You're able to get the Pogger out and about. There's like actually this cool river, the Carabasset Valley River, or is it the Carabasset River?
Carabasset River, yeah.
Runs right next to where we're staying in the Appalachian Trail, so we did lots of walking out there and take the Pogger to go swimming.
Yeah, she did a lot of swimming.
She did do a lot of
and rock
swimming.
climbing.
She did. And tree climbing.
And tree climbing. Oh yeah, hike across the lawn. Like, she didn't climb any trees.
Tree crawling.
Tree crawling. There was a tree over the river and she walked across it.
Right.
Yeah. Biggest fail from this month?
The biggest fail from this month, I think it was actually a fail from before this month. It was when we booked this place. We just didn't really think about the functionality of it, and like Justin said, there's nowhere to even sit for a podcast, let alone work remotely.
This is where we sit to eat dinner.
Yeah.
This is where I sit to work.
Yeah, if you didn't see the video, a couple weeks ago, we did a tour of this place. It's 480 square feet. Take you through, and we showed you our work setups. And yeah, so that definitely was a fail on my part when I was booking this, because I did not look at the pictures enough and think through like, okay, where are we gonna work? Are we even gonna be able to walk around with each other in Pogger?
Yeah. This place, by the way, like Tracy said, if you haven't seen the previous video, check that out. It takes all of 5 minutes to tour the whole place, but it's set up really, really well.
It is.
For the size that it is, it's set up really nice, and it's a very nice place.
It is. It's really nice. If we didn't have to work all day, every day, both of us, I think even if just one of us was working, it'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But with both of us, it was just tough without having any kind of desk or even a chair to sit on all month.
But in all fairness too, you kind of forewarned me about this coming into this place. I remember on the drive here you were like, are you ready to live in a very small space for the next month? And I was like, sure, why not? I've never tried it before. But that ties right into my next question. What went better than you expected it to go this past month?
I mean, we got lucky. We were like sandwiched in between two libraries.
Yeah.
So even though this place was really hard to work from, we could go to the libraries on either side of us and work from there, and that helped a lot.
Which is crazy because we have to drive an hour to get to the grocery store where we're staying. It's literally the closest town that has a grocery store and a Walmart and a pharmacy is an hour away, but there's a library 5 minutes to either side of us on the one road that goes through anywhere around here. So yeah, that definitely worked out in our favor. It was a bit of a transition getting used to going to the library and working rather than waking up and working from home. So what I think actually went better than expected, so again, when you forewarned me about coming to this place, you told me that it was connected to the house. So what I mean by that is it's not a shared space, but like one wall over is the person who owns it, and one wall over here is another Airbnb right next to us. And we had a not so great time the last time we did a adjacent room, and also with the basement in New Hampshire. There's lots of noise and whatnot, but surprisingly things here are really well insulated. So it's been really, really quiet, other than the dogs barking sometimes in the morning.
But really, I mean, there's our host has 5 dogs.
Yeah, 5 dogs.
They're all poggers.
Yeah. They're all little mutts.
Yeah. But yeah, she's got 5 dogs. And when I first heard that before we even got here, that was another thing that we were like, oh, small space, 5 dogs.
It's gonna be a hot mess.
It's going to be rough. And actually, aside from the early mornings, like, you don't hear them.
Yeah.
It's really... I like dogs, so I wasn't scared of the 5 dogs, but I was scared of the noise that they would cause. But yeah, they're really quiet. So.
Okay, so what went worse than you expected it to go this past month?
I feel like there's lots of things we could dive into here.
All right, give me one.
The weather was pretty crummy. It kept us like imprisoned.
In a tiny space.
It
was raining all the time. Literally, there were like 3 days where it didn't rain. And today was the nicest day. So we leave tomorrow. Today was the nicest day, and we just sat through the craziest thunderstorm. We both love thunderstorms, but Cricket usually doesn't mind thunderstorms, and she was cowering in the bathroom because this thing was right above us, just like cracking.
Yeah.
But that's how it's been here this whole time.
It has. We hiked 3 mountains, and each of them we were in the rain at one point or another.
Yep.
Yeah.
The weather here, we kind of got hosed on the weather. And the mosquitoes and the biting flies have been absolutely
the bugs are bad.
Miserable.
Real bad.
Yeah. So if you're thinking of traveling full time and you want to visit Maine or even New Hampshire, I'd say come after June.
Yeah.
Because the bugs here have been just really bad.
In our last 1 month recap, we talked about like the hub and spoke model. And if you don't know what that is, it's like where we stay in one spot, but then on the weekends we go out and about and see different things. And we really weren't able to do that here because it's so secluded. So again, probably back to me booking the place, not doing enough research, but we really didn't get to go out, and then that coupled with the weather, like...
It was challenging.
It was a challenging month.
Yeah.
Challenging second month.
Yeah, I'd say for me, if I had to pick one thing that went worse than I expected it, again, going back to, I knew that we were going to be pretty remote. I didn't know we were going to be this remote. So driving an hour to get to the grocery store is a completely novel concept to me, and it's not ideal. Yeah. I've heard of food deserts before. Never have I been in one, and now I have a much better understanding. So I'm grateful to be able to understand what that actually means, and that there are people out there who have to drive an hour to get to a grocery store, but I will not be doing that again in the future.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Okay, so even though it's been raining a lot and the bugs have eaten us alive, are there any trips or experiences that we did in this area that you would recommend to anybody who's thinking about coming up to northern, western Maine?
Northwestern Maine.
There
you go.
Northern Western Maine.
Northwestern Maine. That's what I'm saying. Western Maine.
That's what I'm saying.
Like we said, we hiked some mountains. Really loved Tumbledown Mountain.
Yeah, Tumbledown Mountain's banging.
That was crazy. It was. So you hiked up it, and then there was like a lake up there at the top of the mountain, kind of in between some different peaks, and it was just really cool. We wished, unfortunately, that was the one we did last weekend, and we wished we would have done that sooner.
Yeah.
So we might have done it a couple times because it was really cool.
If we had done it first, though, we would have been hiking up in the rain, and we would have thought it was miserable. So
this is true too.
It's all good.
Yeah, because the first one we hiked was Saddleback, and while I recommend Tumbledown, I probably do not recommend Saddleback. At least the route we took. Yeah. Because we hiked
straight up a ski slope.
Yeah, it was just straight up the mountain ski slopes the whole time. In the rain,
and the trail was literally just like a creek coming down this like 45-degree.
It was brutal.
Mountain.
Brutal hike. It was cold. We were both soaked by the time we got up there.
I was soaked about 20 yards into it.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But anyway, the Appalachian Trail met at the top. Like, it would have been really pretty if it would have been better weather. Yeah, but we literally got to the top, and it was, maybe like 40 degrees and so windy, you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you. Wait for this footage to come out, because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
We spent 3 hours hiking up this thing and got up there.
Might as well just be a close-up shot of a campfire.
Yeah, it was.
It's just inside a cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the clouds all started to clear when we were 15 minutes from the bottom.
Yep.
So.
But I wasn't going back up.
Nope.
Yeah, I would agree. Tumbledown Mountain's cool. If you're within like an hour to an hour and a half of Tumbledown Mountain, drive there and take that hike. We did the Brook Trail. There's a couple different trails up. Do the Brook Trail. That's the one we did.
It was really cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. You kind of hike up again a brook the whole way. You see like little waterfalls cross over them. And then when you get to the top, there's this awesome kind of hidden lake that you can swim in, and the Pogger went swimming in it.
The other hike we did was Sugarloaf, and I would recommend that one too. That was it was tough. Yeah. The terrain was pretty tough and long, but it was a cool hike. You got some really cool views up along the way. So we did that via the Appalachian Trail. Yeah,
so do that one, the Appalachian Trail to the top of Sugarloaf, which is the second highest mountain in Maine. We couldn't get to the tallest one because that's actually where the Appalachian Trail ends, but that's a good 5 hours from us.
Fun fact, we met someone who started on the Appalachian Trail in Georgia when we were hiking up Sugarloaf. That was cool. I can't imagine doing that hike.
Oh, well, I would like to.
I know, it kind of sounds fun, but it also sounds like...
Except for pooping in the woods, that doesn't sound fun.
And no shower. Hygiene would be an issue for me.
Toilet paper for me.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Any tips that you learned in the past month for long-term Airbnb stays and or full-time traveling that you want to share with our listeners? Kind of asked 2 questions there. I have an answer for each. It was one run-on question. There's 2 parts. There was full-time travel and there was Airbnbs. It was literally one run-on sentence. All right, go for it. All right. If you checked out our Airbnb, we have a video for Airbnb tips for full-time travel. Sorry, I'm like stumbling over my words a lot, and it's not very coherent. Run-on sentences. But yeah, so go check out that and take special notes on the double, triple, quadruple checking the pictures. Yes. Because I continue to fail at that. So if you're looking to book Airbnbs for long-term stays, I just can't emphasize that enough, because like, I vet the reviews and I think places look good and they're in our budget, and then after booking them or after getting here, I'm like, man, I did not think this through. I was not paying attention. So yeah, going back to like the work situation and not having chairs, you know, if I would have looked at the pictures closer, I would have been like, where are the chairs? Where's the chairs? But again, that's why we're doing this. You know, we're learning everything the hard way just for you. So when you go to do it, you already know what to look out for. That's right. Yeah. And then circling around to the full-time travel. So while we were here, we ran into like this issue where I couldn't get my prescription meds. Yeah. And I messaged my doctor, but because I was out of state, they couldn't get them for me, and they wanted me to go to the nearest urgent care or hospital. And I told them I was in rural Maine, but unless you're from rural, it's really hard. Even you just said that a few minutes ago. I've never understood it till now. Yeah, like you don't get it. Like it's not like I'm just 30 minutes out of town. Like we don't know where there is one within an hour, probably an hour and a half to the nearest hospital. Like I have no idea where it would be. And so that was not a very great option. But what we found was I did a Google, and of course now there's like these online prescription med places, which was really cool. We found Wisp, and I went in there, I sent a message in or requested a prescription, told him the situation. I did that at like 10 p.m. and when I woke up the next morning it was already called in. Yeah. So I would say for full-time travel, if you have meds that are even, you know, they don't have to be prescription, just something pops up and you need medication, like it's a good option to check there. Yeah. It's not covered by insurance, so it was a little more expensive than usual. It wasn't super expensive. But it was still like super reasonable, especially once you consider how much time and everything we would have had to spend actually going to another hospital. Yeah, I mean, Granted, we still had to drive an hour to pick up your prescription.
We did, but we were able to double it with grocery shopping.
Yeah, we did grocery
multitasking.
shopping. Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say check out Wisp. I know there's a few other ones, but we're definitely going to keep that in our toolbox. So.
Yeah. Any other tips?
Get yourself a Pog. Everything's more enjoyable with a Pog.
I will say this poor, pitiful Pogger here has gotten yelled at constantly while we're here because there's nowhere to go. Every time I turn around, she's under my feet because she doesn't know where to go because there's not enough space here.
Yeah, and she's gotten very good at like backpedaling. Like we got like this little alleyway between the coffee table and the couch, and she'll like trap you in there, and then you'll be like, "I need you to move," and she'll like do this awkward little backpedal thing. It's funny.
Yeah.
But.
Okay, guys, if you have any specific questions for us, feel free to drop those in the comments on this video. Again, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel so we can start going live with y'all from our mobile devices. We might actually go live when we're in between places in the car, just to answer questions and connect with you guys. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. If you liked this video, hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next video.